Greetings, everyone. This is a long-awaited topic, and I'm going to have to do it in two parts. So in this part, I'm going to give the symbols, that is the dream symbols that you should look out for. And then the next one, I'll explain how over the years, when I have these symbols, I'm able to know what steps to take, what to pay attention to, and so on and so forth. When it comes to dreams, it is the universe way or the guide's way of teaching us or informing us or preparing us for what is ahead. And so I'm not asking any question if this is for real. I'm telling you about my experience. And if it's not your experience, I respect it. But I live on these dreams. I rely on them, actually. I depend on them. And there are times when I get certain symbols and, it takes a little while for it to manifest, but it never fails. And so those of you who ask me to interpret dreams from you from time to time, sometimes you never come back to say, well, this has been my experience, or I've seen this manifest, or whatever. And it doesn't really matter. That's not my business, but this is. And so I'm going to talk about 10 signs or symbols that you should not ignore when you get these in a dream. Number one, snake. Snakes are one of those symbols that you should not ignore. And if you pay attention to this dream, you might be able to save yourself some dangerous situation, or how to escape, at least, because there are times when, if something is foretold, it's going to happen, but at least you can be prepared in how to respond. And so when you dream about a snake in a dream, it is always a sign of enemy within or without. So it depends on how the symbol is in the dream. Then you'll be able to interpret what it is. But if you're dreaming and you see someone that you know in the same space as yourself, understand that it is a person that you're seeing in the dream who is the snake and who is your enemy. And in the next video, I'm going to come back and tell you how this have played itself out on different occasions, but one in particular in my life. So snake, definitely someone you're dealing with, someone in your close circles that is doing that double-edged thing, that sort of dangerous person that you should look out for, or situation, that is. Number two, clothing. If you dream about clothes, pay attention to this. Now, again, it's how the clothes is presented. So if you see white clothes, for example, that could signify, purity, but it depends on who is wearing this clothing. And so you take note that if the clothing is white, for example, on the line, you see all these white clothes strung out on a line, that could be the sign of a new birth. A new birth doesn't necessarily have to be about a physical birth, but it could be changes coming in your future. Also, the white clothing on the line also could be telling you something about death as well. So we're not trying to work with the old prejudice views of what white signify, but we're talking about in the dream world what it represents. So it's spirit and it's death. And I'll go into that more perhaps if you request this in another video. So you see white clothing, for example, it could be transition. It could be someone who is very ill who is going to make that transition, or someone who is in that way to physically give birth is going to give birth to a child that is going to be very special. Or again, it could be foretelling of some event to come as it relates to life and death. If you see wet clothing in your dream, you're washing, hanging on the line, you see it in your, your bath pan if you're in Jamaica, or in your wash tub or whatever, it is never a good sign. Any wet clothing, whether on the line or thrown down in your house or whatever, symbolize sickness, very serious sickness. And the ones you see in the house with that clothing, they are the one that's going to be sick. So if you saw your grandmother, or if you saw a child in a room with wet clothing, those individuals are going to be sick. And so you pay attention to that. Also, dirty clothes. If you see a house scattered with clothing, for sure there is going to be chaos in that environment. There's going to be problems in that family, for sure. Not if or when. It's just, and again, you look at the persons who are in that space with those dirty clothes, but also too sometimes in that dream when you see another person, that could be you, that could be a representation of yourself. So you have to say, okay, what do I have in common with that person? Because again, sometimes you see other person playing that role, you become another person, and so you have to pay careful attention to that. But white clothing, wet clothing, dirty clothing in your dream should never be ignored. Number 4, gone. This is a very special one for me. Gun always represents deception. So if you see in your dream someone is firing a gun at you and you have escaped, that's a great thing. But at the same time, expect that very same day you will get a call or you will encounter someone who will come to you to deceive you. It never fails, 100%. So if I wake up this morning and I had a dream about someone firing a gun at me or even seeing the gun itself, I'm looking out for that person who's going to come to me with their lies, and it never fails. And it's not one of those dreams that are delayed, it's immediate. Number 5, yam. This is yam that you plant in the ground. We're not talking about potato. I'm talking about Jamaican yam, like the yellow yam and those other kind of root food. For me, when I see yam in my dream, it is a sure sign that I am going to become ill. And it's going to be an illness that is going to require treatment and, patience and, a period to overcome. Yam, ground food in particular, that type of root kind of food, especially yam, means sickness. It foretells of illness in the body that is to come. The same thing is true for number 6, raw meat. Any kind of meat, if the meat is cooked, it symbolizes sickness for me, but also it's not as severe as if I see raw meat. So if I were to see, someone cutting up meat or anything like that, it just troubles me. It is for sure. Number 7, we're going to talk about water. Now we're going to look at dirty water. Dirty water always symbolize troubles ahead, problems, but it also symbolizes sickness as well. And so when I had that dream with, the dance all artist, and I saw dirty water, I knew that he was not going to win his case at that time. And because he was trapped underground and you could see the water marks on the wall that was running down, that was dirty, it was a sure sign that was not a good thing. When I saw him dressed in his white clothes in the airport, I knew that the case would have been transported somewhere else. But I saw that the white represents sickness also. And so white clothing, as I said before, could be spirit, it could be death, it could be a newborn, it could be new beginning. All of that stuff, I looked at that in that dream with the artist. So yes, the water, dirty water is always sign of trouble and tribulation and illness as well. Now, if you see clean water, you're at a river and you can see the stones, it's so clear. Whatever you're going to do, go ahead with it. If you're going for a job interview, you're going to get that job for sure. If you're trying to get a loan from the bank, it's for sure. If you're in a relationship with somebody, it's a positive sign. Any sign with water that is clear, running water that is clear, or if you're drinking it and you're a sick person in real life and you're drinking clean water, it symbolizes that you're going to have some changes in your body in terms of your health. Things are going to get better. I'm going to have to extend this video. I've said it for 10 minutes, but I'm going to have to end it. And so we're going to go to 8, which is dogs. And again, it depends on how you see the dog, how the dog presents in the dream. If you're seeing the teeth of the dog, if they're grinding their teeth or they're coming at you, it is important for you to take note, because again, this is danger presenting itself. And danger as in someone behind the scene is doing things to harm you, and these things that they're doing is more spiritual than they're physical. This dangerous situation that you're facing, with the dog attacking you, is something that you're gonna have to go into some prayer and some fasting to try to cancel out what is already brewing in the atmosphere. And so you see this dog attacking you, and if you see it ripping your throat, that just means that you are going to be in a situation for which you are not going to succeed, or you're going to fall prey to that attack. And so you have to pay note to this and start praying and fasting and doing what you need to free yourself. And of course, if you see a dog that is friendly and a dog is taking you through a pathway, it is a sign of a spirit guide that is going to, show you something. Pay attention to what the dog is showing you, or the environment in which the dog led you, because the answers come from there. It's going to give you instruction on what you need to do to deal with the situation that you're in. Number 9, fish. And of course, different ways of presenting itself has different meaning. But if you dream about a rotten fish, if you're ill, your sickness is getting worse. If you have a situation that you're in where it's uncomfortable, you're living in an environment with folks and you're not getting along, it's only going to get worse. It's time to end that situation, end that relationship. If you dream about a frozen fish, for example, you must know, if you are pregnant, that you are going to miscarry. It is a sure sign that you are going to lose that child. So even though the fish is there and it represents life, it's going to show that the end of that life is imminent. Number 10, technology. Any phone, computer, or any gadget is a clear sign of spiritual attack, and you have to be very careful. Now you got to be praying and fasting and doing some things that you need to do to avoid the attack of some darkness that's around you. Technology, that is phone and any kind of gadget, is a sure sign of beings around you, negative beings that are around you, that are working to thwart your plans. It's teaching you also that there's an individual in your life for whom you confide in and you should not, and that you are going to be attacked from somebody who you're close to. If you're a prayer warrior and you're praying for someone and you've seen gadgets, this is showing you that that person has an energy or a spirit attached to them for which you could be in danger if you're not careful. And so in my next video, what I'm going to do is share some real examples of how over the period of years, and we're talking about many years, that's why I can boldly and confidently tell you what these things mean. And so I'll tell you some examples of having a particular dream and then interpret the results of that dream. There for sure. It's the only way for the universe to communicate with you. It's the only way for your guides to teach you and to show you and to prepare you for what is to come. And so hopefully this is beneficial to you. If you want more of this, let me know. Stay blessed, everyone.